Generation X, Generation Z. Are they the lost generation? Can we even reach them? On this episode of Lakeland Now in View, I'm going to be talking with someone doing an amazing job reaching those young folks. Jon Laurenzo from Grace City Church, youth pastor, and also a community advocate is our guest today on Lakeland Now in View. I'm Andrea Oliver. Stay tuned. It is so good to have Jon Laurenzo, my friend, in studio with me for this edition of Lakeland Now in View. Jon, we just want to remind everyone that we are in the beautiful Bella Visage spa. It has kind of become our studio of sorts, and it takes a lot of things to make it look this great. And we are so happy to have the folks, loaning us this spot. So I have to ask you from right at the get-go, you just became a new dad.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Are you getting any sleep at all?
I'm getting some sleep. That's what we say. Max, she's sleeping is like 3 hours at a time, but she's so cute. You can't really be mad when you look at her.
She is the most adorable baby. Just have to say that Jon Laurenzo, as we mentioned, youth pastor at Grace City Church and leader of young people, doing a lot in this community with our young people, is now having to consider and put on the hat of leading his family with being a girl dad.
Yes, girl dad.
Is that scary?
It is a little bit. A lot of my friends were dads of girls, though. That's the thing. I feel like my whole friend group, everyone had girls. So I kind of have like some examples to look at, some people that are doing it, and she's the best. She has the best mom, so I'm just watching, just trying to learn.
You guys are going to be the most amazing parents. Natalie's mom, little baby Ava. Are you figuring out yet whose personality?
Sometimes she's mine, definitely. She's got a voice on her. That's definitely her mom is sweet and kind, and when she wakes up in the middle of the night, she's not sweet or kind. She's loud. So, she's got a little bit of me, but I think she looks like her mom more. I see pictures of when Natalie was a baby and she looks like she did. So.
It's so amazing because I think for most parents, we go into this thing with some set ideas, set rules. We read the books and we have a way that we think the thing is going to go. And we forget in the whole process that the baby has not read the book.
Yes.
And is possibly likely not to follow anything. Is that your experience?
Yes, that was the advice you gave us at the drive-by shower. We had a drive-by shower in 2020, and I remember you drove by and said that to us. I think it's true. I think it's more instinctual than I thought it would be. There's like stuff that we just have done that seems like this is what you're supposed to do, and this is what Ava seems to like. And so I think definitely I feel like the whole process has taught me there's a ton of great ways to be a parent. You got to do what fits with your personality, fits with your baby, all those things.
Well, we mentioned that you've been leading young people in this community for a while. You've made Lakeland your home from Seattle, Washington.
Yes.
And I'm sure you're probably wondering at times in Lakeland, Florida, where is the Sunshine State? It probably reminds you a lot of Seattle. But you've made Lakeland home, leading young people at Grace City Church. But you guys have been doing an amazing work in reaching out and leading. And we've been told, this is the generation, the lost generation. They don't care about much. They can't be influenced. But how are you able to reach, touch, and shape lives, Jon?
Well, I think I just believe in young people. I think that, I refuse to, and I've always felt this way, that we refuse to accept statistics or accept what a news report says. I think young people are our future, and they're worth giving time to. They're worth giving energy to. They're worth giving finances to. And so when I first came here, I had a lot of people tell me about how bad our public schools were, and that just wasn't my experience. When I started meeting the principals and teachers and coaches that were giving their lives to these young people, I just didn't understand why people would say that about these public schools. And so we just fought to do whatever it takes to help them. And so for us, that always looks like asking a principal, what's the greatest need here? And they always just say, my kids just need someone that cares about them, someone that loves them. And so the way I looked at it is, we'll do whatever it takes. And now, 6 years into it, there's a large footprint of, 4 or 5 schools that we are able to be a part of. But in the beginning, it was just one. It was just one school, Crystal Lake Middle School, that said, we'll let you guys on, we'll let your leaders on. And I think that was my thought process, is just young people are worth giving your life to and worth trying to make a difference in their world. And so that was always our heart. And now years into it, it's become something a lot bigger. But in the beginning, that was the heart.
When you go into these schools or you're working with these groups of young people, you said that you're coming from a place of they're worth giving into. What is exactly that you're hoping that you are able to give into their lives?
I think they just need positive role models, honestly. You know, I think that all young people need something to aspire to be and something that they can see themselves becoming. And so I think for even having college students with them, which obviously a majority of volunteers that I work with are college students, of showing these kids like, hey, you can better your life, you can better your future, you can be an upstanding citizen, you can, get a great job, you can have a family. And I think that that's for us, it always begins with relationship. It's that, especially from communities, kids are very skeptical in the beginning, and it takes, months sometimes of our leaders just saying, I'm going to keep showing up, I'm going to know your name, I'm going to know what's going on in your world. And even the kids, I think, that are maybe seem like the most hard to reach, biggest front, end up being the kids that they just want someone to love them, someone to know them.
Jon Laurenzo is our guest today. He's youth pastor at Grace City Church and doing an amazing work in this community, reaching our young people. And Jon, I think it is really so awesome that not only are you able to go in and pour into these young people, but that I've watched some of that interaction and how they relate to you, and how is there a balance that you find that you have to strike with between I'm caring for you, I'm reaching, but after all, I'm the authority figure, I'm the youth. Is there a balance you find that you have to strike?
Honestly, I think it happens less than you might think. I think that our I was blessed with a personality that is a leader and, is a strong person. And so I think that kids don't necessarily feel like they can clown me or, kind of come in and try me and stuff like that. But there are sometimes those conversations I think kids actually like structure more than they say that they maybe don't seem like they want to, but it's few and far between. For the most part, I actually think that our young people are very respectful. I think that they want someone that is a strong authority figure in their life. And as long as you are coming to their world, it's weird now. I feel like for the longest time, I felt like I was in this generation, and now I'm finally, I turned 30 last week, so I'm now a little bit older.
Wow.
But I think now there's starting to feel like a larger gap. And I think that every year I'm out of high school and more into adulthood, it's become easier to think that, okay, I can lead these kids. I can be part of them.
What has been the greatest misconception you think about reaching young people, and what exactly it is that it takes to get them mobilized and involved?
Yeah, I think that a lot of it comes down to what people's perspectives were in our city on certain schools here. And I don't know the heart necessarily behind it. I can't say, but I think some people just have a large amount of fear towards our public schools and towards what kind of young person goes to our public schools. And so I think I just found none of that to be true. Even with students that come from really hard backgrounds and come from some really big challenges, whether it be what kind of home they grew up in or maybe what kind of past they have, I just have never found those students to be more disrespectful. If anything, it's usually higher income students that I actually find more disrespectful a lot of the time. Wow. So I think that's a big one. I think that I also think that one thing I try to break down is sometimes leaders, whether it be my peers as youth pastors, think that you have to know everything that they're into, completely understand their entertainment or their social media or all these things. And I actually don't really think that's true. I think that one thing that I know is that even though their world has changed a ton since I was in high school, the same emotions are the things they struggle with, whether it be insecurity or fear or all of those things were present when I was 15 years old. It's just maybe evolved a little bit. So that was what I'd say.
So we mentioned that you're a brand spanking new dad and a girl dad at that, little Ava, such a beauty. And just want to know, how does being a dad, how will it influence the way you lead? Is the leadership going to take on a different flavor, a different tone? Maybe?
We'll see. I mean, hopefully I'm always evolving and growing as a leader and as a person. And I think every new season probably has that for everybody. And I do think one one thing we've always been passionate about, me and Natalie, my wife, as what we do is seeing young women raised up. And I think
Yes.
being a youth pastor, that's one thing we've been passionate about. We love seeing women walk in who they're supposed to be, and strong and courageous and educated and all of those things. And I think now that I have my own little girl, that probably will just keep being even stronger, is that we want to see that.
Earlier this year, you lent your voice to some of the racial concerns happening in our community. And you not only posted on social media, but you actually went to a number of these events locally. I just want to ask you, as a leader, how important it is to lead by example.
I just don't believe in leadership where I'm going to put it on social media or talk about it at church and not go act it out. And so for me, I was thinking about my students that are living in our city and were scared and were, walking through the things they were forced to see on social media and on the news. And I just said, if I really believe in young people, I'm going to be with them. Now, that doesn't mean that there's some people that were, definitely took it a little bit far in our city, and that's not what we were a part of. But at the same time, it's really huge to me that our students see that the church does something other than just sit in their building on a Sunday or sit in their bulding on a Wednesday night.
Much has been said about the new crop of young people that we see today, and some of it has not been good. They're referred to as the lost generation, the generation
Yes.
that don't care, the generation that's all about their next cute image on social media.
Yeah.
Has that been your perspective?
I think that this generation is desperate for something that's real. And I think that's what it comes down to. Is I actually think that the generation has as much potential as anyone has. It just has to be authentic. Our students are people that have every single thing they want entertainment wise at the drop of a hat on their phone. They have everything that's available to them. So they just want something authentic. And I think that even in a generation like that, we've been able to see young people arise and step up and be who they're supposed to be. So I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all.
You're in 6 schools now, you say, 6 public schools.
Yes.
You have a vision for what you want this next season to look like?
If I had to come down to, what I want to see for our young people, I think about students' faces. I think about students that, I've been a youth pastor here long enough now that there are students that were in high school that are now college graduates and becoming, I just had a student actually from Lakeland High School who I just ran into on Sunday, who has now accepted a job as a construction foreman and graduated from college, top of his class. And when I think about what I do, that's my hope, is that students in our circle were able to become everything they were supposed to be. And that I think is my dream. I hope that number just keeps growing, and every school that they allow us to go on, I'll try to send people there. So I just keep, every year they give us a new one. So I'll just, as long as I'm here, I hope we get another one.
Jon, thank you so much for being here. You've been an amazing guest. We're so excited about the work that you're doing in this community and the work that you'll continue to do with our young people. And thank you for joining us. It's been so fun having you on this episode of Lakeland Now in View. I want to thank the folks at Bella Visage for again lending us their wonderful spot so we can do these shows, and hope you'll tune in again next time. I'm Andrea Oliver for Lakeland Now in View.